Public hearing item number 13, and this is an application for a certificate of appropriateness at 15 Commerce Street in the Greenwich Village Historic District, docket number 15-5305, block 587, lot 65 in Manhattan. And this is an altered late federal style row house built in 1826, and the application is to construct a rear addition.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Rebecca Salgado, Preservation Department staff. Subject property is on the north side of the street between Bedford Street and 7th Avenue. Here's a photo of the building. The applicant proposes to construct a non-visible two-story rear addition that extends across the full width of the rear facade. There's an existing one-story rear addition that will be demolished. The proposed rear addition will extend 5 feet into the donut. Here's a photo of the existing rear facade and the rear addition to be demolished. The applicant proposes to clad the rear addition and the rear facade with fiber cement siding to emulate wooden fabrics. So there are a number of properties in the donut that have existing rear additions that are of a comparable size to the proposed addition. However, a majority of the buildings in the donut do not have any rear additions at all. Mary Derricks will further explain the proposal.
Thank you. Good afternoon, Mary Derricks, the preservation consultant for this project. With me is Gary Weissman of SDG Architecture, who's here to answer questions, and Adolfo Suaya, who's the owner. We're going to go back. Let's just go back to...
This is the first slide.
Thank you. This house was built in 1826, but raised to 3-story from 2.5, both on the front and the rear, sometime in the later 19th or early 20th century. The proposal is to remove the existing 1-story rear addition and build an addition of 2 stories that extends the width of the house, projects just 5 feet into the yard. The adjacent buildings to the east and west have rear additions that extend beyond 5 feet. Here's the existing plan. Here's the proposed plan showing the addition. The section which Rebecca showed you that shows the existing current addition, which is 1-story and sticks out farther, and the proposed, which is shallower but taller. The top floor of the 2-story addition will have a shallow terrace with a balcony. What I didn't show you, well, you can see it here. The rear facade is not in good condition and bulges quite a bit. The windows, the sash is not historic. The window configuration dates at the top floor dates from the when it was raised a story. I'll talk about that later. The windows are going to be regularized, so they won't have the quirky appearance that is because of the stair hole. The little left window has is because there's a stair there. They're typical of windows in the district and typical of windows on the front facade, and the stair is going to be moved, so the windows need to be a little bit more in keeping with the new plans. Here is the elevation that shows this shows you an example of where the existing windows are and where the proposed windows will be. The block has the entire half of the block to the west doesn't have a donut at all. It's got early 20th century buildings that take up their lots. So on this side there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They're just under 50% additions, but there are additions on this block. The rear facades have a variety of window types, some of the quirky ones showing the stair hall, some normal ones, and some that have been altered in the 20th century. It's a mix. This is the yard. It's a two-tier yard, and the yard will be filled up to the level, this will be filled up to the level of this.
Okay. Are there any questions? Is your presentation over? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
The rest of the,
Okay.
rest of the rear elevation.
Okay.
Oh,
All right, yes, questions? Michael?
Could you explain more about the new windows? Are they wood? Are they plastic? Are they true divided lights? Are they snap-in buttons? What's the?
Gary, the wood,
Okay,
say your name.
Gary Weissman from SDG Architects, we're the architects. The proposed windows would be a true divided light, 606. We're proposing to do a wood window, aluminum clad on the outside, if that's acceptable to the commission. If not, we'll do a true wood window.
Thank you.
All right, yes. Any other questions? Yes, Roberta?
And so the material, the new material for the bottom part it's going to match the wood.
It's going to match the, there is a clapboard that's existing inside, not in great shape, but it'll match the existing very wide wood clapboard.
Correct. And farms material texture, texture, or no texture. Again, my client here is not insistent on any specific material or color, whatever would be acceptable in that house.
We're proposing the color, a beige color that you saw in the rendering.
Okay. Any other questions? All right. Are there any speakers on this item? Any speakers?
The one where every single one looks like this.
The Community Board recommends approval of the demolition of the rear and the new addition. Support that. Okay. All right. Just to note that we normally do not require the true windows at the back, or wood windows. At staff level, we wouldn't have required it, right?
But the snap-ins, we don't, no, they're not. But if they suggested snap-ins, we'd say skip the snap-ins.
All right, are there any questions for the applicant? We can close the hearing otherwise. Okay. Motion to close?
So moved.
Some of
Okay. I think this is very modest. Are there any concerns?
Just they should look
Michael,
at
were
the,
you concerned with the material and the type of windows that they're putting in?
we'll just say they should look at the staff to put some trim around those windows, and at the top of the wall, there's no trim shown, and traditionally clapboards would require some kind of trim.
Just say that again, Michael. Do you want the staff?
Trim
Yes.
around the windows and doors, and at the top of the wall, just, otherwise it does tend to look a bit
Okay.
undone. Yeah.
Okay, and they're shaking their head.
We know it's
They'll work-
staff.
They'll work with staff on that. Okay, great.
I would suggest that any 18th or early 19th century carpenter would have planed the texture off of the clapboards.
Yes.
So
So in other words, none of that texture stuff.
Okay, great.
Lot of
Diana,
work.
would you like to read the resolution?
Well, I want to make sure we include
You've
everything.
got the
So we're
comments.
looking for
One
the
year at a time.
the staff to work with the applicant on the
Staff will work with the-
details and the trim and the materials,
No, yeah, untextured.
untextured.
Clapboard.
Okay. All right. In the matter of a certificate of appropriateness, Borough of Manhattan, 15 Commerce Street, Greenwich Village Historic District. Application is to construct a rear addition. I recommend approval, finding that no significant architectural features of the building will be damaged or destroyed as a result of the proposed work, that the proposed rear yard addition will not be visible from a public thoroughfare, that the proposed rear yard addition will not rise to the full height of the building, and that the work will retain the building's relationship to the road by maintaining the original plane of the rear wall at the top story. That the proposed rear yard addition is in keeping with the size and bulk of additions on adjacent buildings and will not overwhelm this house or the adjacent houses in the row. That rear yard incursions exist on other houses on the block, and the proposed addition will not project further into the rear yard than other additions and therefore will not diminish the central green space. That the design of the proposed rear addition featuring cement board cladding, multi-light windows, and metal railings will utilize traditional row house materials and architectural features, provided that the architect works closely with his staff to address details such as the trim, and that the materials be untextured, and that the proposed addition will not diminish the special architectural and historic character of the building or the Greenwich Village Historic District.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, this resolution's been passed.